we're going to introduce Blake Pettis, who has been with this county position for 19 years. And he is the director for 6 years of beach operations, I guess beach maintenance operations. He'll tell us exactly what it is. Blake?
Good morning, everybody. Nueces County, we have the beach maintenance, seaweed, sand management problems, but we also have 2 RV parks. We have the Gulf fishing piers that we take care of, trash pickup, and special events. I'd like to introduce my staff. I have my supervisor of maintenance, Lana Scott, back here. Supervisor of parks is Pablo Gonzalez, and our beach maintenance guy, the beach guru, is Thomas Chapa. Altogether, we got about 75 years of experience with this department. We all been here a long time. Okay, next slide. Okay, the seaweed and the sand management kind of work together because we all know the most expedient way to get seaweed off the beach is to use front end loader, so you get a lot of sand with that. So it kind of ties together. This is our main problem right here. This picture was taken. This is Horace Caldwell Pier. This picture was taken in about 1999, and this pile of seaweed is about 4.5 foot tall with that little bird sitting on top of it. This is also what you see when you come to the beach. Normally you try to get it all scraped up into a pile, get that done real quick so that people can start using, the water in the beachfront. Nobody likes to see it, nobody likes to look at it, nobody likes to smell it. And it's everywhere on the beach, especially this time of year. Spring break through about the, first part of hurricane season is usually the worst. A lot of times, like Todd was talking about earlier, when you clean the beach, all you're doing really is just making room for the next batch of seaweed to come in. So, you can go out there and work for 3 or 4 hours with any type of machine and then come back 2 hours after it leaves and you see the same thing all over again. So it's a never-ending process. So all kinds of machines are out there. This is a beach tech. Scott Merrill and his people were nice enough to bring this down to Port A about 2 years ago and do a demonstration on it. Works really good. For certain types of seaweed, but no one particular machine seems to work on all the types. The real fresh stuff, the wet, heavy seaweed is the hardest to pick up. It's so heavy. It's right on the water line. It's usually mushy. Sometimes the machine can sink in that. Once it dries out, this is the type of machine to use. This was an experiment that Copano Bay Excavation tried in City of Port Aransas about a year ago. What this is a real large aerator, and the thought was that these teeth right here would just kind of push the seaweed down into the sand. And then when you got ready to load it, these wheels right here would come down hydraulically and lift this up so it could be moved. This is a very extremely large, extremely heavy machine. It's got rubber tracks on it, so it'd be real hard to transport. Nueces County only got 2.7 miles of beach to take care of. The biggest problem is our 2 high priority areas are 18 miles apart. So anything that we got to move has got to move 18 miles. This machine made about 8 passes over this particular spot of beach right here. And as you can see, it kind of worked a little bit, but not really. It made it real hard. This stuff was real hard to walk on after this machine ran through it. So due to the size of the machine and fairly ineffective, it's not a real good idea. This is the best way, the fastest way to get seaweed off the beach. May not be the best ecologically, but it works real quick. What we started doing this season anyway, is to run this machine with the blade about 1.5 to 2 inches off the sand. You get up most of the seaweed. With not near as much sand in it. Of course, you're going to get some because the beach has always got some ripple effect to it. And then normally what we do is just what everybody else does, put it on the forefront of the dunes and let it start revegetating. But also in some smaller areas, we use these tractors. We'll pull it up into a pile, and then at the end of the day, or maybe every couple of days, we'll come and take the pile and place it on the forefront of the dunes also. This is slotted bucket. This is some pictures from the city of Galveston, and we've talked to these guys, and this seems to be a fairly effective way if the bucket is heavy enough to handle the load, and we're going to talk some more about that in Roundtable tomorrow. Looks like it could be a pretty effective way to handle some of the seaweed. As a result of putting it on the forefront of the dunes, you start getting all this dune build out right here. In 1999 or 1998, this light pole went into the ground. This is in Port Aransas, just south of the ship channel. At that time, the forefront of the dunes was about 6 foot behind where that pole is right now. So that's how much build out we've had in 10 years. It's a fairly healthy dune system, but we're starting to get into some beach narrowing, beach access issues. Here you can see another sign of it. Negative effects, we've got some narrowing of the beach, so we're kind of starting to deal with some beach access issues. I know me and Rob Conti and Conrad have talked about this and what we can do about it. We got some changes, possible changes of the beach profile. We've talked about that before, how the beach is narrowing up. And we've got changes to the vegetation line, which is, as part of the beach management plan, Nueces County's plan says that line is resurveyed every 5 years. So that affects where people can build. Budgetary restrictions are a big concern in the buying of the new types of machines or leasing the new types of machines. So constantly after the commissioner over here for some money to try some of this stuff. And we have an impact to the tourist business. When seaweed's real heavy on the beach, and I'm sure up and down the coast, everybody's got the same problems, you start getting cancellations of your motel rooms, of your condominiums. A lot of the places here have started putting a cancellation charge on there, which has kind of stopped some of that. Now, the dunes that we have in Nueces County beaches, the city of Corpus Christi and the city of Port Aransas are. Some of it is due to just being a good dune system to begin with. Years ago, the county was burying Christmas trees to help build up dunes. The seaweed has had some effect, I'm sure, over the years. This is a picture looking from Road Access 4, which is just south of here, down towards the pier. See a nice, healthy, vegetated, very dense dune system. But here in the front, we got, this is that maintenance dune. So as we're evolving, we've tried to follow the example set by the city of Port Aransas and looking at some backstacking areas. This is 2 sites in the city of Port A that this permit's just about done. Got a few more little details to handle with Rob, and then we can start putting seaweed in this area right here. We just started permitting this area right here, which is we're about right here, and this is the area that we're going to use right here. We're going to stack the seaweed on the backside of the dune line right here as a way of reinforcing the dunes from the back. It gets us away from the beach access issues. It gets us away from building the dunes out and narrowing the beach. We'll have several access points at each corner, maybe one in the middle to bring it in right here, with the thought being if there's a lot of seaweed on the beach, it has to go. We can just take it, dump it on this road back here early in the morning, give people the beach back, and then we can spend the rest of the day carrying it in. There's also been some thought of, picking a couple areas of the beach, maybe not right here, maybe further north, up around Newport Pass, and just not doing anything for a year. Just pick the trash up, just leave it alone for a year, and just see what it does, see how fast it takes for the seaweed to decompose, blow away, let nature take its course. The pier here and then the pier in Port Aransas, Horace Caldwell Pier, these are our high priority areas. These are the areas that we'll clean first and the best. Then as we branch out from there, we'll do some cleaning, mostly raking, but not near as intense as we do at the piers. And that's all I have. If anybody's got any questions. Yes, sir.
I have a comment. First, do you have any private property owners adjacent to?
No, all of my stuff is owned by the county. The park down here is owned by the county. The Newport Pass area is owned by the county, and then of course the entire park in Port Aransas is owned by the county.
One thing that Port Aransas has just started doing is being able to put some of this in the dune system or backstacking or mid-stacking on private property, and I would encourage the city of Corpus Christi to contact beachfront property owners that have large areas that are somewhat open in the front to make their dune system stronger. So if this stuff has to be moved off the beach, it certainly is better to put it somewhere that builds it.
Well, what we did with the city of Corpus in this area, the backstacking in Padre Bali Park, is we are working with the city of Corpus. They're going to put some seaweed and sand in there, and we're going to put some in there. It's a real common area for both of us. as the idea expands, there's other areas like a Newport Beach, Newport Pass that we could experiment around with.
That's probably a bad idea. Newport Pass and those other hurricane washover channels actually are mostly eroded out after a storm, letting the water back out of the bay. And it's pretty important, I think, to not close those off so that hurricane floodwaters can get out of the bay.
Well, we also have a little area in there that it's not part of the pass. It's just south of the pass, up to marker 203, I believe, that we could, it's kind of a small area, but it could be used for that. Yes, sir.
What do you reckon the backstacking, that stuff on the backside of the dunes will have in vegetation and roots?
Well, the area that in Port A, we'll start using that probably within the next month to 6 weeks, and it's real small. It's 1.5 acres, and that's kind of my experimental plot. The other permit down here, we're looking at probably a couple of months before it's in place. So by the time that we start using that, which will more than likely be next spring, we'll have some data off the test plot in Port Aransas, and it may turn out that it's not a good idea. And that's why the one in Port A is, it's my experimental little test plot.
The monitoring on that would be a real good thing.
Yes, and that'll back up data that, it'll be available for anybody that wants to look at backstacking. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Pettis?
Yes.
2 questions. One, do people pick trash out of the Sargassum before it's scraped?
If it's real thin, we try to get as much of it as possible. If it's real thick, we have several issues there. One is Donna Shaver says that a turtle cannot climb over more than about 12 inches of seaweed. So kind of the important part there is to get seaweed off the beach. Then as it lays on the dune line, then we can go through there and pick through it a little better at that point.
Well, now you gave me a third question. Mother's Day 2 years ago, a friend of mine out there, I was on patrol, through patrol, volunteer, and a real strong mother on Mother's Day, catch really turtles, climbed over a heap of Sargassum, but I'll tell you, I was one of the ones who had to hold her while she was getting tagged and inspected and everything. And that was a really strong turtle. But it was her flipper up over the top of that Sargassum that caught the guy's eye. And because he's colorblind, the guy that spotted it. But, okay, well, anyway, and so the other thing is, now, with regard to between here and Bob Hall Pier, this county park here in Padre Bali.
Right.
Actually, Padre Bali is just by the pier, or is it the whole thing?
It starts at Access Road 4,
Access Road 4.
and then goes down to Access Road 6.
So were you going to have your dozer, skippers, whatever, there go on Access Road 4 and bring it around the back way and dump it, or are they going to just go through the dunes there?
Well, the idea is to bring it in of each corner from Access 4 in and Access 5 in. I'd like to have an access through the back. That way, if the seaweed is extremely bad, then we can go through there, put it in trucks or whatever, and then dump it on Elliff Road and get it off the beach as quick as possible and give the beach back to the people. And then we could spend the rest of the day carrying it in off that road into the backside of the dunes.
That makes sense. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you.